right now. I was blinded by temptations, never thought it would be me. Crying out for your love. God, my street niggas need you more than ever right now. I'm pouring up, I'm rolling up, but it ain't enough to ease my pain. And I don't even trust the pastor. He after the same thing I'm after. Money, clothes, hoes, and all the finer things that you bring to me. That's why I'm on my knees, Lord, asking for forgiveness, mercy, and grace right now. We need you right now. Hey, I say, Holy Father, we need your holy water. I say, Holy Father, we need your holy water.
I need to holler. Forgive me, dear Father, you know I'm back in that water. And I'm sitting again, you see the lights getting farther. While I sip holy water, I'm just in need of $1. Forgiveness, amen. I told God I wouldn't, but shit, I did it again. You see this life is sick, keeps calling me, it's drawing me in. When I go play, you know I'm playing to win. And there's no need to lie, because I do it again. It ain't for me, it's for my son and my daughters, my mama and father, my sister and brother. I do it cause I gotta, not cause I wanna. So Father, forgive me, I'm back in that water.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Bearded Tabernacle. You feel me? Hey man, got the Bishop Bearded one in the building, man. What's going on, everybody? Peace, love, and abundance to everybody out there in the building, man. Don't forget to hit that like button for your boy. And if you come in the building, man, hit that like button. It is greatly appreciated. You feel me?
Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man. Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man.
Like he said, hey, man, listen. Excuse me, y'all. Y'all know how I like to start off every show, man. Let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. Again, family, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. And lastly, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, prayers, views, and meditations. That's people we come in contact with on a daily basis. People we cordial with, our families, our extended families, and more especially our bearded conversation, our bearded studios, our bearded lounge at the dark, and our bearded tabernacle family. And secondly, y'all, don't forget to master these 5 key components of life. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. Once again, that's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. Excuse me. And one last time, family, that's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. You hear me? And don't forget to E40 that thing and sprinkle a little support on top, because a little support go a long way, y'all. With that being said, how everybody doing, man? Big shout out to my co-host who ain't never in the building, Roscoe P. L. Boogie, and my co-host is with the mostest, my little one, AJ. I love you, son. You feel me, man? Big shout out to all my kings and goddesses that's moderators for the channel for me, man. Big ups to all my Twitch and YouTube. My Twitch and Facebook supporters. Also all my YouTube subscribers, man. Big ups to y'all. Peace and bless. Peace, love, and abundance to y'all tonight. Man, yesterday, man, I didn't go live first before we kick off anything, man. Before we get to, man, I went to go see the We the Ones tour, y'all. You feel me, man? Took forever to find a parking spot. Miss Moni, what's going on, Goddess? How you feel? Took forever to find a parking spot, right? All right, so we mishap the show. You feel me? So we get in the John. I'm probably get in the John. We see Chico. Chico decent. You feel me? Like Chico, you could tell Chico be working on his comedy. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Man, look. DC Young Fly. Bro. No. He, let me wrong. Listen, so I can say I respect the fact that he out there. You feel me? Doing this thing and working on the craft and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I respect that, but yeah, but for me, it's a no. So then, man, Mike Epps was the headliner, so we called Mike Epps. So you know what I'm saying? I get back in mode like, okay, fuck it, you feel me? We miss, you know what I'm saying, Carlos Miller, because I wanted to see Carlos Miller too. You feel me? I'm like, all right, we miss Carlos Miller, but we see Chico. Chico was decent. DC, I got a chance to see him. I ain't fuck with it, but you can okay, Mike Epps. Man, this nigga Mike, he come out there, man. I'm sorry, man. This brother Mike. Excuse me, y'all. Man, this brother Mike, he come out there, man. He on fire at first, you feel me? First 5 little minutes, you feel me? Of the set, it was decent. And then, you know what I'm saying, after a while, man, it just started, you feel me, going down and down. And it felt like, you know, um, she said I came through, saw you on live. Yeah, and I forgot to slide yesterday, man. So, because I had one out, I was in the show. But yeah, so Mike Epps, man, he come on stage, man, and it felt like he was just going off the top of the dome. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying he couldn't go off the top of the dome and, you know what I'm saying, get a chuckle here, get a chuckle there, but man, Mike Epps, And then, bro, let me tell you how he did. He was like, oh, man, y'all ain't laughing no more. I'm out of here, man. He still had like fucking 10 minutes left on his jaw. You feel me? He got up out of there because motherfucker wasn't laughing at him. I said, oh, no, this was horrible. You feel me? Then we get up out of this job, go hit up a pizza joint, man. This pizza joint was under new management. It was ran by some Indians. Pizza was well, okay. The crust, cheese, sauce, yeah. But the chicken, man, they gave me some fake diced chicken. Oh man, that shit was horrible. The wings was decent. You feel me? They ain't had the sauce that I wanted. You feel me? And the cheese sticks was decent with the marinara. The fresh marinara was dope. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Out of 10, you know what I'm saying? We got the rating on a 10-point scale. I gave it a 6. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Gave it a 6. Oh, and the show, oh man, the show was fucking ass. Chico was decent. No, I hate we missed the rest. But shit, I seen down to everybody else on I'm saying, on the Joe, except for Carlos. But yeah, man, I'm gonna try to catch Cat Williams when Cat Williams come to town. If I can. If I can't, oh well. No, because he at the United Center. I don't see it's a little tight. I don't unless I'm on the flow. Yeah, Miss Money, man, I miss, you know what I'm saying, coming over there and argue with you. But yeah, man, welcome to the Bearded Tabernacle. Listen, y'all know what we like to do, man. We like to dab and dibble in all things theology on Sundays. Whether it's through discussion, video education, whatever, it might be. Or, you know what I'm saying, after we watch, it might lead to discussion. It's always an open panel. It's always an open forum. You feel me? I do post a link in the chat periodically throughout the publications. So if anyone wants to come up and maybe speak on the subject or speak against the subject or whatever the case may be, as long as you show proper decorum and respect, you feel me? And it don't get too wild. You know what I'm saying? We all Gucci and good. But if it get too wild, man, just know you know what I'm saying? I hold the right to drop you. You feel me? And get you on up out of there, if need be. But for the most part, man, we open for any and everybody to come talk to us. So that's what we want. That's what we want. You feel me? So again, yeah, like I say, man, all things theology. So I want to get into this demi merge. I want to play or get in or listen to a few things, or listen to something, that's speaking about it. So and then after we can, or you guys can chime in the chat, you know what I'm saying, as I play the video, of course. And, if anything is interesting or anything comes up, I will pause the video and speak on certain things and however that may go. But before we do that, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. So the thoughts, views, and opinions of Bearded Conversations are the thoughts, views, and opinions of me tonight. The thoughts, views, and opinions of Bearded Conversations are the thoughts, views, and opinions of me tonight. I don't mean to hurt, to harm, or to offend. I don't mean to hurt, to harm, or to offend. This video stream is for informational, educational, and edutainment purposes only. Once again, this video stream is for informational, educational, and edutainment purposes only, with the underlying undertone in edutainment, so we do stress and emphasize edutainment. Please do not take any advice given or anything shown on this video stream without consulting a proper professional that suits your specific needs. Please do your due diligence. Please do your proper vet work and research. And like I always say, don't forget to get that second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth opinion, because we don't want you going out here robbing no banks, starting no revolts, telling your boss what he or she can take, how they can turn sideways, and where to put it. You feel me? We got to lay that down for y'all. We got to lay that down for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Oh, I don't know what. But before we get to the dimmers, man, y'all, please. Hey, so I know y'all. Hold on. So y'all know somebody tried to get to. Well, they say he tried to get to Trump, man. I don't know how true this is. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they said. Of course, and I don't know, but let's see. I don't know. Shots fired, assassinated attempt at Trump doing White House correspondent dinner. Hold on. Let's check out a few things. Well, let's listen. The White House Correspondents Association, man, they rushed Trump off the stage. They hit some clapping like it's groundbreaking, man. People get to running around. Like, you got the folks with their guns out and shit. So supposedly, I should be able to play this.
News report after last night's shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner here in D.C. In just the last few hours, we're learning that the suspect, we're going to show him to you here, look at sprinting past, ready to see this, charging past security armed with a shotgun and pistol, was likely targeting various members. We're rolling that video here. Suspect's going to come running through. You see him on the left side of your screen. We now understand that this suspect was likely targeting various members of the Trump administration, including the president himself, according to that attacker's own writings. We're going to show you the moment that Mr. Trump, the president, was rushed from the stage by the Secret Service. And what was a dramatic moment as the president is speaking more about this. You see the president there at the head table, people running, including some officers with guns there, as the president was taken away from that ballroom at a hotel here in Washington. You can also see the moment that they took 31-year-old Cole Allen, a teacher from California, into custody. We are learning more now from the president himself, who has done a phone interview. We also understand he is likely sitting down with 60 Minutes later on tonight. Let me bring in our NBC News White House correspondent, Monica Alba, who's joining us now. Monica, talk us through some of these new developments here and these questions around security.
Yeah, and it was President Trump also, Hallie, today, who does continue to raise some questions about the security measures that were in place while applauding law enforcement, saying that what needed to happen did take place when those agents were able to neutralize the suspect and prevent him from getting any closer to the ballroom or into the ballroom where the president, the vice president, the first lady, and many cabinet officials, of course, were huddled with journalists and many other administration officials. But this does raise a larger question in the president's mind, for sure, about where he goes, where he participates in these mass events. And according to him, he says it solidifies his rationale for wanting to have a massive ballroom that is being built here at the White House. That is what the president wants to happen. Here's a little bit more of what he has to say about his overall perspective on that and this project.
It's always tough when you have 1,000 rooms. It's a large hotel right on top. And so people come down in elevators and they're right over the top of where you're speaking. They're not very far away. But we also need a location. And the location's on the White House grounds, which is the most secure ground probably in the world, including the fencing, including everything else. The president doesn't have to leave the premises.
Is that this is a president who has faced past assassination attempts and plots. So he brings all of that background to this. And even though we are still waiting for more information and a fulsome investigation into exactly what happened last night, the president said that since the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting, he has studied assassination attempts overall, even though he says it doesn't color his everyday life, that he still does want to make decisions. He still wants to be able to travel and go to events and be around people. He says he can't let it control his life. But at the same time, he did point out that there did seem to be holes in the security operation at the start of this event. When you do talk about the fact that you're in a massive hotel where there are many hotels, Hilton, and the fact that the suspect was able, it seems, to get through a couple of those layers of initial security because guests at this dinner had to sort of flash their tickets in order to get to the point where the suspect was apprehended. And at that point, there were actually security measures similar to what you would see at an airport or at a massive concert or sporting event. And that is when agents really leapt into action and again were able to take him down and arrest him. So, Hallie, continued questions about the security protocol. Certainly, it seems like we may see what we saw after the Butler assassination attempt and other attempts, which is this larger conversation with the president's aides, with the Secret Service, about whether anything should be changed. And we did see changes after the Butler shooting when it comes to outdoor events in particular. Remember, he was still a candidate back then. Of course, now he's the president. So many more security resources are usually dedicated to him and will continue to be dedicated to him and the First Lady and the Vice President. But you have to imagine that there are just ongoing considerations, even though we know in the immediate, in the coming days, there's supposed to be a state visit that the president is going to host, King Charles and Queen Camilla, who will be coming to the United States, traveling to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, in fact. And as far as we know right now from Buckingham Palace, that does still seem to be on and will proceed, it seems, as planned. Hallie.
More about the suspect here and some of these writings, essentially, that he has put out. We're not going to show them verbatim, but walk us through some of that as our teams are digging in on who this person is and where they're from.
Yeah, and the suspect, whose name is Cole Thomas Allen, a 31-year-old of an LA suburb called Torrance, was staying at the hotel. He was a guest. He had checked in, according to officials, on Friday, and he did send a note to his family, to some of his former professors in his life, his community, we understand, ahead of when he attempted this, where he apparently apologized for what he was about to do. But very notably, Hallie, he also wrote about the lax security at the hotel, according to some of these excerpts that we were able to review, saying that he even expected to encounter more security. Now, we should point out that he did have specific words about overall Trump administration officials, and that was a potential motivator here. But he did not mention President Donald Trump by name. He referred to the president and leader in a more general way, but he did not specify that he was targeting him necessarily. Now, according to Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, they are characterizing this and taking this as a potential attempt on the president's life. Certainly on some of those administration officials that it does appear the suspect did write about more directly. And what's really notable, Hallie, is that it does seem some family members of this individual, of the suspect, did try to reach out to authorities in Connecticut, but it was after the incident had already taken place, and they expressed that they were concerned that potentially their family member, the suspect, was going to try something like this, may have been involved in this. And President Trump, for his part, when he was interviewed today, said that he did wish the family had been able to speak out sooner, had been able to do more, that more could have been done, in specific reference to that Connecticut angle and aspect to it. But you better believe that now authorities are going to be looking at all of that, whether there was any of that kind of outreach and what was known about this suspect before the events of last night.
Monica Alba live for us there on the North Lawn. Mon, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the developments throughout the day today. We will have much more coming up tonight on Nightly News, on NBC News, on NBC News Now, and of course online at NBCnews.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Hallie Jackson. We'll see you soon.
Hey man, so yeah, I couldn't let it go past without so he say, man, God damn it, that's why he need the ballroom built, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he building the ballroom. And this is just more rhetoric, just more, you know what I'm saying? You know, like man, do this shit be set up, man? Like let's walk through it, you know, and I'm not gonna say that. But come on, man. So you just decided to hey, don't get me wrong, you feel me? We got some strange individuals out here, you feel me, that doesn't worse, right? It doesn't stupider shit, I guess you could say. Excuse me. So you mean to tell me, man, you just decided to put a shotgun, you know what I'm saying, around your shoulder, you feel me? Get you, you know what I'm saying, one of them little knife belts, you feel me? And get a handgun and just run through this correspondence. Well, it was at a hotel, you feel me? Okay, so but you just decided, and then like you come on, to really get past security, like even if you'd have, you know what I'm saying, pulled out your firearm, you feel me, and started dislodging, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of people there with firearms before you can get through. Like, so of course that's why he didn't do that, right? So he called himself trying to run through. But what was the chances of you really getting far or running through with I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a possibility. I mean, I guess he thought you feel me? But like, no, man. Then you were apprehended. Like, come on, man. And then he come with a statement like, you know, man, that's why I needed the ballroom. You feel me? And that's why I want the ballroom, and that's why I'm building the ballroom. So, you know what I'm saying? Things like you heard him. Well, he didn't say that the ballroom part necessarily in that, but he did say it. And you feel me? And then and I was like, well, you know, that's what but guess what a ballroom is? The ballroom is on the White House property. That's where he's building it at. So of course, you feel me? I think this was just propaganda, man, to get people to donate and help build this ballroom. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. That's what I think. You know, but I couldn't let it go past, man, without speaking on, you know what I'm saying, the assassination of Trump. Or what they say was an attempt on him. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. So Trump tells 60 Minutes he wasn't worried during correspondent dinner shooting. Read this article, man, and then I will get to my bearded tabernacle, man. But let's rock with Trump for a minute, man. Let's say so. Donald Trump spoke with CBS correspondent Nora O'Donnell in an interview that aired in an interview that aired Sunday night on 60 Minutes, describing his ordeal at the White House Correspondents Association dinner when shots rang out. A gunman opened fire at Washington Hilton Hotel Saturday night, though he did not breach the basement level ballroom where Trump was sitting at the time. The president described the events in an even tone, saying that he did not feel particularly alarmed as they unfolded. The events, that is. I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried. Trump said in the interview when asked how worried was he about possible injuries after hearing the gunshots. I understand life. We live in a crazy world. Trump told 60 Minutes that his curiosity probably slowed the Secret Service efforts to rush him to safety, which is crazy. He said, I wanted to see what was happening. Trump said, I wasn't making it that easy for them. I wanted to see what was going on. And by that time, we started to realize maybe it was a bad problem, different kind of problem, a bad one. The way he talk is crazy and different than what would be normal noise for a ballroom. I was surrounded by great people, Trump added, and I probably made them act a little more slowly. I said, wait a minute. Wow. Secret Service. See, this is what I'm saying, man. That's why I say, hey, come on, man. This shit, come on. Why are you telling people to wait a minute, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like any noise, any of that. It's time to go. We moving along with the program, bro. We not sitting here. We not waiting for nothing. What is we waiting for? You feel me? And then again, like I say, bro, for him to just come on, man, for him to just do some shit like that, bro. Like, I don't want to sit on, bro. He knew he was only apprehended, bro, or killed one. He likely didn't lose his life. You know what I'm saying? He lucky he didn't lose his life. You know? And then in a situation like that with the rifle and the handgun and the knives, bro, which they said he had, for them not to even, fire a shot. Well, I don't know if he was firing shots or if they was firing shots at him. But however it went, did nobody get hit? But it was some shots fired. I don't know what was going on, how the situation went. I guess it's a story unfold. The investigations come out. Maybe I catch another article then to say who fired the shots, but yeah, man, like, come on, man, that was just a send-out mission. Like I say, like he didn't lose his life, but then Trump telling people to wait a minute. Like, what are we waiting a minute for? What are you trying to see what's going on for? You feel me? Like, this is crazy. Secret Service officers, however, repeatedly told the president and the First Lady Melania Trump to hit the floor. Trump said, "I started walking," Trump said, and they said, "Please go down. Please go down on the floor." So I went down, and the First Lady went down also. Secret Service officers eventually led Trump and other administration members to safety after the shots were fired. Law enforcement officers exchanged fire with the suspect. Okay, here we go. Law enforcement officers exchanged fire with the suspect gunman, Cole Thomas Allen, 31 of Torrance, California, at the hotel before tackling and arresting him. Allen was armed with knives, a shotgun, and a handgun at the time of arrest. The shooting appeared politically motivated and may have targeted other top officials in addition to Trump, according to the acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche. Get the fuck out of here, man. Of course, that's what y'all gonna say. Y'all gonna try to throw him under the bus if this was anything. Or shit, he just might disappear. You never know. You never know. And he just might disappear. Shit. You might not hear from him again. Shit. Because, again, like, like, come on, man. It seemed like, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but, I mean, like, because like I said, we do got strange folks out there that do, what I'm saying, crazy stuff. But this seemed a little bit, I don't know, man. This seems kind of strange within itself. You feel me? So we do believe, based upon just a very preliminary start to understanding what happened, that he was targeting members of the administration, Blanche said in an interview with CBS News on Sunday. How do you know this? The suspect allegedly sent writings to a family member fulminating against the Trump administration that some have described as a manifesto. The 1,100 word screed is signed Cold Force Freely Federal Assassin Allen. Ooh. Man, get the okay, all right, okay. It could be shit because he had knives, shotgun. I don't know. 60. Wow. 60 Minutes interview got confrontational when O'Donnell read portions of the manifesto on air that appeared to refer to Trump as a rapist and a PDF file and asked Trump to react. "I wasn't waiting for you to read that because I knew you would because you're horrible." People, he said, "This is Trump." Oh my God. So Trump said, "I was waiting for you to read that because I know you would because you're horrible people," Trump said. Yeah, he did write that. "I'm not a rapist. I read the manifesto. You know he's a sick person. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. Well, go ahead. Let's finish the interview." Trump continued to take jabs at O'Donnell for the rest of the interview. After she noted that Allen, the suspected shooter, had reportedly attended No Kings protest, Trump shot back. "The reason you have people like that is you have people doing No Kings. I'm not a king. What am I? If I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you." Ooh, he said, "What am I? If I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you." He said, now with that standing, Trump's criticism of the press, which he described as assault on crime, he urged the White House Correspondents Association to reschedule the event within the next 30 days. He said, "I don't want to see it canceled. I think it's really bad for crazy people to be able to cancel something like this," Trump said, adding, it's not that I want to go. I'm very busy. I don't need that." Oh, man, Trump said he wasn't scared at all. Trump said, "Man, I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't want scared at all." You know what I'm saying? Trump said, I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. Yeah, your boy Trump out here wilding, man. He said he wasn't scared. He telling motherfuckers to wait a minute. He telling folks to hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. But like I say, man, this feel like a ploy just to get that ballroom. Cause I just can't see no. Come on, man. Like, so the brother had a shotgun, a handgun, and some knives, and y'all see the video. Presumably, he ran, tried to get, and like I say, so they say he fired shots, and then I guess the law enforcement officer fired shots, so it was a little shame. Like I say again, it was Irby. What's going on? Luckily he didn't lose his life, bro. That shit is insane. That's crazy. I'm trying to, cause again, I'm trying to figure this out. Like anybody else, they would have got gunned down. You feel? Well, I don't know. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say. I don't know. I ain't gonna say that. But yeah, my man, like, he didn't lose his life, man. But I don't know what he was trying to do. But of course, you know what I'm saying. If they, you know what I'm saying, they got him, they gonna railroad him. You feel me? That's that. They gonna railroad my man. I feel sorry for him, man. I feel sorry for him. And this ain't doing shit but making Trump look better. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, and don't get me wrong when I'm saying this, man. I'm not saying this to be like you feel me, like, yeah, but this to the motherfuckers that love him. See, that's what I'm saying. Talk that shit up. See, that's what I'm saying. Because come on, man. This brother just ran it, bro, just with a shit, bro. Cause like I say, he ain't had a pistol out, like, but damn, so you just gonna have all this shit and you just gonna try to run past, you feel me? You get in a shootout with them. They didn't gun your ass down. They tackled you down. You feel me? Come on, man. And then I read what Trump said. Trump said he wasn't worried, right? He said he was telling people to wait a minute. He said as the shit was going on, he was trying to get up and see what was going on and go toward the shit. While the Secret Services was telling him to get down on the floor and shit, he was like, man, he telling people to wait a minute. What you mean, wait a minute? What is you? Come on, man. Again, he wanted that ballroom, but then played the little news shit, man. He said, goddamn it, he felt safer if it was on, you know what I'm saying, the White House premises, because, he trying to build that ballroom. You feel me? So this ain't got that. All this is doing is just trying to get money for that ballroom and get folks to see, look, this is why we need the ball. That's it. That's all, man. That's it. That's all this was about. You feel me? I believe that's all this was about, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. But yeah, but I don't know if it wasn't. You feel me? Just like when talking about he just just having to turn his head and he hit his ear. I'm done. I'm done because at that rate, at that speed, the way that shit was coming, ain't no way in hell. He should have had a hole took about him, bro. He shouldn't have had no motherfucking He shouldn't have had no motherfucking just no little blood or nothing like that, bro. He's supposed to have a little blood, a little chunk or something. You feel me? Especially the caliber. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, all that shit be. We ain't gonna. You know what? I ain't gonna say. Let me do that, man. Let's get back to my bearded tabernacle, man. What I'm trying to do for the night, man. What? Where is that? Let me kind of find it. I had it. Uh, 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 uh. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I got to talking about Trump and got off my got off my whole. It did what I was trying to do for the night. You feel me? All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I give y'all this one. I give y'all this one. We'll do this one. We'll do this one. We'll do this with y'all. So we finna. Hey, Jared. Uncle P, what up? We finna get into this demi merge, y'all. So y'all just bear with me. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna tune in again. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to Be the Tabernacle. So we do all things theology around here. So we like to dibble and dabble on Sundays into theology and get into origins and different philosophical and ideological principles and disciplines. So if you're interested, stick around. If you want to add to the discussion, you can hit the link, or you can get in the chat. But let's go. Let's get it. Uncle P, here we go. Let me go back.
Have you ever felt like you're living in a world that's fundamentally broken, but you can't quite put your finger on why? That nagging sense that something essential is missing from human existence, that we're trapped in systems designed to keep us spiritually asleep? The ancient Gnostics identified the source of this cosmic imprisonment, the demiurge, not some mythological figure, but the architect of the false reality we mistake for truth. This entity appears across cultures under different names: Yahweh in certain Jewish mystical texts, Brahma in Hindu philosophy, even the God of this world that Paul warns about in Christian scripture. Understanding the demiurge isn't academic philosophy. It's the key to recognizing why human consciousness feels perpetually constrained despite our apparent freedoms. This knowledge was systematically suppressed because it reveals how our thoughts, desires, and even spiritual aspirations are shaped by forces we never consciously chose to follow. Once you recognize the demiurge's signature in the world around you, everything changes. You begin to see the matrix for what it truly is. Now, let me take you deeper into what might be the most profound creation story ever conceived, one that explains not just how our world came to be, but why it feels like such a beautiful trap. Picture this. In the highest realms of divine consciousness, there existed a being called Sophia, which literally means wisdom. She was one of the aeons, these perfect emanations of the ultimate source that the Gnostics called the pleroma, or fullness. Each aeon existed in perfect unity with their counterpart, creating through divine harmony and complete understanding. But Sophia, in her infinite wisdom, became curious. She wanted to create something magnificent, something that would reflect the glory of the source. Here's where the cosmic tragedy begins. She attempted this creation without her divine partner. Think of it like a master architect's apprentice who finds the blueprints for a cathedral and thinks, I can build this myself. They understand some of the principles, they've watched the process, but they lack the complete knowledge and experience needed for such a monumental task. What emerged from Sophia's solo creative attempt wasn't the divine reflection she intended. Instead, she gave birth to something unprecedented, a being that possessed creative ambition but lacked true divine understanding. This was the demiurge, and from the moment of its existence, it was fundamentally insecure, incomplete, and driven by an ego that had never existed in the perfect realms above. Imagine a child who's been given sophisticated tools but no instruction manual. They start building, and yes, they create something that functions. It has structure, it has systems, it even has a certain impressive complexity. But it's built on flawed foundations with backwards engineering and missing crucial elements that only come from true understanding. The demiurge looked around and saw only its own creation. Having never experienced the pleroma, it genuinely believed it was the ultimate creator, the supreme God. This wasn't malicious at first, it was simply ignorant. But this ignorance, combined with its inherent insecurity, would become the source of humanity's greatest challenge. Unable to create from true divine substance, the demiurge became history's first master manipulator and imitator. It took the patterns it could perceive from higher realms and created distorted reflections of them. Our material world, according to this Gnostic understanding, is like a photocopy of a photocopy, recognizable but degraded, containing echoes of divine beauty but trapped in density and limitation. The Nag Hammadi texts, discovered in Egypt in 1945, give us remarkable detail about this process. In the Apocryphon of John, we read how the demiurge creates not through love and wisdom, but through desire to be worshipped and obeyed.
Also, man, I got the memberships back, man. Y'all, hey, make sure y'all get what y'all want in the memberships, man. We got 3 tier memberships. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all get one in the memberships, man. Big ups to Uncle P, man, for the 9-month membership. Also, super chats are back. I got my super chats back. So if y'all want to hit that super chat, man, if y'all want to get one in the memberships, Don't hesitate, don't hesitate. But listen, hey, I'll take a like, a share, and a comment. You hear me? Let's get back to it.
It fashions a world where beings would be dependent on it, where they would look to it as their source, rather than recognizing their connection to true divinity. But here's where it gets really interesting from a psychological perspective. The demiurge, lacking authentic creative power, developed what we might recognize today as a narcissistic feeding pattern. It learned to sustain itself by absorbing energy from its creations, particularly the intense energy generated by human emotions like fear, anger, despair, and even religious fervor directed toward false gods. This explains something profound about our world's structure. Why do systems seem designed to generate maximum stress, conflict, and emotional turbulence? Why does genuine peace and contentment feel so elusive, even when our external circumstances improve? The Gnostics would say it's because the very fabric of material reality is designed to harvest emotional energy rather than nurture spiritual growth. If you're finding these connections as mind-bending as I did when I first encountered them, you're going to want to dive deeper into how these ancient insights apply to modern life. I share practical techniques for recognizing and transcending these patterns in my weekly newsletter. You can find the link in the description below. The demiurge didn't work alone in maintaining this system. The Gnostic texts describe entities called archons, but don't think of these as literal demons with pitchforks. Think of them as forces, patterns, and systems that maintain the illusion of separation from our divine source. They're the psychological and social mechanisms that keep us believing we're merely material beings in a random universe, dependent on external authorities for meaning and direction. Modern psychology actually gives us tools to understand this ancient wisdom. What the Gnostics called archonic influence, we might recognize as internalized authority, projection of power onto external slave systems, and the psychological patterns that keep us seeking validation from sources outside ourselves, rather than recognizing our inherent divine nature. This creation myth explains something that philosophers and psychologists have puzzled over for centuries: why human beings simultaneously feel divine and trapped, powerful yet helpless, infinite yet constrained. According to Gnostic understanding, it's because we literally are divine sparks trapped in a system designed to make us forget our true nature. The demiurge's fundamental insecurity drives it to demand constant worship and obedience while keeping its subjects ignorant of their true origins. It's like an insecure ruler who maintains power not through genuine leadership but by ensuring the population never discovers they have royal blood themselves. This isn't just ancient mythology. It's a sophisticated psychological and metaphysical map. When you understand that our reality was created by an entity that mistakes control for love, domination for creation, and worship for genuine relationship, suddenly the patterns of our world start making sense in a completely different way. The most crucial insight here is that the demiurge's creation, while impressive in its complexity, is fundamentally unstable because it's built on false foundations. It requires constant maintenance, constant feeding, constant reinforcement of the illusions that keep it functioning. And that maintenance depends entirely on human beings remaining unconscious of their true divine nature. Understanding this origin story isn't about developing paranoia or hatred toward the material world. It's about recognizing the difference between authentic spiritual reality and sophisticated imitation, between systems that truly serve consciousness and those that harvest it. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it, and that recognition becomes the first step toward genuine freedom. Now that we understand how the demiurge came into existence through Sophia's passionate desire to create, we need to examine something far more disturbing: the sheer sophistication of how this entity maintains its grip on human consciousness. This isn't some crude tyrant ruling through fear and violence, though fear certainly plays a role. No, what we're dealing with is something far more insidious: a master manipulator that has convinced its prisoners to guard their own cells. Think about the most effective prison you could imagine. It wouldn't be one with high walls and armed guards. Those create resistance, rebellion, the constant awareness that you're trapped. The perfect prison would be one where the inmates don't even realize they're imprisoned. Better yet, one where they actively defend their captivity and attack anyone who suggests they might be free. This is precisely how the demiurge operates, and the Gnostics understood this with startling clarity. They described what they called the veil of forgetfulness, the mechanism by which human souls, upon incarnating into physical bodies, lose all memory of their divine origin and true nature. It's not accidental amnesia, it's a deliberately engineered system of spiritual lobotomy. You're born into this world carrying within you a spark of the true divine light, that piece of Sophia's essence that even the demiurge cannot destroy. But from the moment you take your first breath, the forgetting begins. The material world closes around you like water, and soon you can't even remember there was ever anything else. You begin to identify completely with your physical body, your emotions, your thoughts, never suspecting these are merely temporary vehicles, not your true self. Plato, who was deeply influenced by these same mystery traditions, captured this perfectly in his allegory of the cave. Picture prisoners chained in a cave, facing a wall where shadows dance, shadows cast by objects behind them, illuminated by a fire they cannot see. These prisoners mistake the shadows for reality itself. When one prisoner is freed and sees the actual objects, then the fire, then finally emerges into sunlight to see the real world. He returns to tell the others. But they don't believe him. They're comfortable with their shadows. They know the patterns, they've made meaning from them. The truth is too disruptive, too threatening to their entire worldview. The demiurge has perfected this shadow play. It keeps humanity focused on the material realm, on acquiring things, achieving status, pursuing pleasures, avoiding pains, while the real spiritual drama unfolds completely outside our awareness. We mistake the shadows on the cave wall for the fullness of existence. But here's where it gets truly diabolical. The demiurge doesn't just hide truth, it presents lies as truth through a systematic process of inversion. Everything gets flipped. War becomes peacekeeping. Surveillance becomes security. Debt becomes opportunity. Spiritual bypassing becomes enlightenment. The very things that enslave us are presented as liberation. This inversion principle explains why so many people feel a constant sense of unease in modern life, even when everything appears to be going well. Deep down, your divine spark recognizes the inversions, even when your conditioned mind accepts them. You feel the cognitive dissonance, but you can't quite put your finger on what's wrong. The demiurge is particularly clever when dealing with people who are beginning to wake up spiritually. Rather than trying to keep them asleep, which often backfires and creates more awakening, it offers false light experiences and counterfeit spiritual phenomena. These can be incredibly convincing. Profound visions, mystical experiences, contact with seemingly benevolent entities, downloads of cosmic information. But these experiences, while genuine in their own way, often serve to redirect spiritual seekers away from true liberation and into new forms of spiritual materialism. I've seen this countless times. Someone has a powerful spiritual experience, perhaps through meditation, psychedelics, or spontaneous awakening, and they become convinced they've found ultimate truth. But instead of leading to genuine freedom and compassion, these experiences often inflate the ego and create new forms of spiritual superiority and separation. The person becomes a collector of spiritual experiences rather than undergoing the genuine transformation that dissolves the illusory self altogether. This brings us to the demiurge's primary tool within each individual, what we call the ego or false self. This isn't your personality or your individuality. Those can be beautiful expressions of consciousness. The false self is specifically that voice in your head that insists you are separate, limited, inadequate, and in constant need of external validation, protection, and improvement. Listen to that voice carefully. Notice how it never stops talking, never stops judging, comparing, worrying, planning. It's like having a radio permanently tuned to a station that broadcasts nothing but anxiety, desire, and discontent. The Gnostics understood that this internal narrator isn't actually you, it's the demiurge's representative within your own consciousness, constantly reinforcing the illusion of separation and limitation. Fear is this entity's primary fuel. Not just obvious fears like death or physical harm, but subtle fears that permeate everything. Fear of not being good enough, fear of missing out, fear of being alone, fear of being judged, fear of uncertainty itself. These fears drive most human behavior, keeping people in constant states of seeking, grasping, defending, and accumulating. The demiurge has mastered what we might now recognize as the problem-reaction-solution dialectic. It creates or amplifies problems, economic instability, social division, health crises, environmental threats, then offers solutions that invariably involve surrendering more personal power and autonomy to external authorities. People willingly give up their freedom in exchange for promised security, never noticing that the very entities offering protection are often the ones creating the threats. This pattern operates through institutions that appear beneficial but actually function as energy harvesting systems. educational institutions that train compliance rather than critical thinking, medical systems that manage symptoms while ignoring root causes, religious organizations that promise salvation while keeping followers dependent and disempowered, financial systems that create artificial scarcity in a world of abundance, political systems that offer the illusion of choice while maintaining the same fundamental power structures. What's remarkable is how these same manipulation techniques that the Gnostics identified 2,000 years ago perfectly match what modern psychology has discovered about human cognitive biases and social influence. Confirmation bias, authority bias, social proof, scarcity psychology, loss aversion, these aren't accidents of evolution. They're exploitable features in human consciousness that keep us locked into patterns of thought and behavior that serve the system rather than our authentic development. The good news is that recognizing these mechanisms is the first step toward liberation. When you begin to see the puppet strings, you can start to cut them. When you recognize the voice of the false self, you can stop taking its commentary so seriously. When you understand how inversion works, you can start to discern truth from deception. The demiurge's power depends entirely on your unconsciousness of its methods. The moment you truly see how the game is played, you're already beginning to step outside of it. But this recognition requires something more than intellectual understanding. It requires a fundamental shift in identity, from the limited self that believes in separation to the awareness that recognizes its true nature as consciousness itself. I need to address something that might make you uncomfortable, but it's absolutely crucial for understanding how the demiurge maintains its stranglehold on human consciousness. We're about to examine how organized religion became the demiurge's most sophisticated control mechanism, not spirituality itself, but the institutional frameworks that have captured and redirected our deepest spiritual impulses. Before we dive in, understand that questioning religious institutions isn't an attack on genuine spiritual experience. In fact, it's the opposite. The demiurge's greatest achievement has been convincing us that challenging religious authority means abandoning the divine altogether. This false choice has kept billions trapped in systems that promise liberation while delivering deeper bondage. Think about the characteristics we've discussed regarding the demiurge: jealous, demanding, wrathful, requiring constant validation and worship. Now consider how many religious traditions present their supreme deity. The God of the Old Testament explicitly declares himself jealous, commands the destruction of other peoples, demands blood sacrifice, and threatens eternal punishment for disobedience. This isn't the behavior of a transcendent divine source. It's the psychological profile of the demiurge presenting itself as the ultimate authority. The pattern repeats across cultures with remarkable consistency. Deities that demand exclusive worship, threaten catastrophic punishment for questioning, and position themselves as the sole path to salvation, while keeping followers in perpetual states of unworthiness and fear. The demiurge doesn't need to create new religions. It simply infiltrates existing spiritual movements and gradually corrupts them from within. Look at how this played out with Christianity. The historical Jesus taught direct connection to divine source. The kingdom of heaven is within you, he said. He criticized religious authorities, challenged institutional power, and emphasized personal spiritual experience over ritual compliance. His message was fundamentally Gnostic, that each person carries divine spark and can access truth directly. But within decades of his death, that revolutionary message was being institutionalized. The Roman Empire, recognizing religion's power to control populations, co-opted Christianity and transformed it into a tool of political authority. The emphasis shifted from inner divine connection to obedience to church hierarchy. Personal spiritual experience became suspect, even heretical. The demiurge had successfully captured another spiritual movement. Buddhism underwent similar corruption. The Buddha's original teaching emphasized liberation from suffering through direct insight and personal practice. He explicitly rejected ritualistic worship and priestly authority. Yet over centuries, Buddhist institutions developed complex hierarchies, elaborate rituals, and systems of spiritual dependency that mirror the very structures Buddha originally challenged. The mechanism is always the same. Authentic spiritual teachers emerge, offering direct paths to divine connection. Their teachings spread rapidly because they address humanity's deepest spiritual hunger. Then institutional structures develop around these teachings, gradually shifting emphasis from personal spiritual experience to organizational authority. The demiurge works through these institutions to redirect spiritual energy toward itself. religious institutions mirror demiurgic characteristics with stunning precision. They create rigid hierarchies that position clergy as necessary intermediaries between humans and the divine. They discourage questioning and independent spiritual exploration. They emphasize human sinfulness and unworthiness, keeping followers in states of spiritual inferiority. They demand financial tribute, emotional submission, and behavioral compliance in exchange for promised salvation that somehow never quite arrives. The concept of original sin serves the demiurge particularly well. By convincing humans they're fundamentally flawed and separated from divine source, religious institutions create permanent spiritual dependency. People believe they need external salvation rather than recognizing their inherent divine nature. This keeps them trapped in cycles of guilt, confession, and temporary relief that never lead to genuine liberation. Consider how religious practices often function as energy harvesting mechanisms. Confession extracts emotional energy through guilt and shame. Tithing channels material resources to institutional power structures. Ritual sacrifice, whether literal or symbolic, generates fear and submission. Large religious gatherings create massive emotional energy fields that can be redirected toward demiurgic entities presenting themselves as divine beings. The suppression of mystical experience reveals the demiurge's deepest fear, that humans might discover direct divine connection. Throughout history, mystics within religious traditions have reported experiences that transcend institutional frameworks. They speak of union with divine source, direct spiritual knowledge, and liberation from fear-based religious control. These experiences are either suppressed as heretical or reinterpreted through acceptable theological frameworks that neutralize their revolutionary potential. Religious wars and conflicts serve multiple demiurgic purposes. They generate massive amounts of fear, hatred, and trauma, while convincing participants they're fighting for God. They reinforce tribal divisions that prevent human unity. They discredit authentic spirituality by associating it with violence and extremism. Most importantly, they channel spiritual devotion toward destruction rather than liberation. The tragedy is that millions of sincere spiritual seekers remain trapped in these corrupted systems, believing they're serving divine will, while actually feeding the very entity that keeps them imprisoned. Their genuine spiritual hunger gets redirected through demiurgic frameworks that promise everything while delivering nothing but deeper dependency. So how do we distinguish authentic spirituality from demiurgic religion? Genuine spiritual paths empower individual divine connection rather than creating dependency on external authority. They encourage questioning and personal exploration rather than demanding blind obedience. They recognize human divine nature rather than emphasizing unworthiness and separation. They lead to increasing freedom and inner peace rather than fear and guilt. Authentic spiritual teachers throughout history have shared common characteristics, and they point beyond themselves to divine source. They encourage disciples to surpass them. They challenge existing power structures, and they emphasize direct experience over belief systems. The demiurge ensures such teachers either get marginalized or their teachings get institutionalized beyond recognition. Recognizing religious corruption doesn't require abandoning spirituality. It clears the path to genuine divine connection. When we stop seeking salvation through external authorities and start recognizing our inherent divine nature, we begin escaping the demiurge's most sophisticated trap. The question isn't whether you're spiritual, it's whether your spirituality empowers your divine connection or reinforces your spiritual dependency. That distinction might be the most important discernment you ever make. The ancient Gnostics understood something that most people today struggle to grasp. The same force that created this material prison didn't simply vanish after trapping humanity in physical form. It evolved, adapting its methods of control to become more sophisticated, more invisible, and more pervasive than ever before. What we're witnessing in modern society isn't random dysfunction or natural social evolution. It's the systematic implementation of demiurgic principles through human institutions. Let's start with education, because this is where the programming begins. The modern school system operates on a blueprint that would make the demiurge proud. Think about it. Children enter as naturally curious, creative beings asking profound questions about existence, and they're systematically trained to sit in rows, memorize predetermined answers, and never question authority. The bell system conditions them like Pavlov's dogs, moving not when their natural rhythms dictate, but when the system demands. They're taught to compete against each other rather than collaborate, to seek external validation through grades rather than trust their inner knowing, and to believe that knowledge comes only from approved sources. This isn't accidental design, it's demiurgic architecture. The system creates compliant workers who've learned not to think critically about the structures governing their lives. By the time they graduate, most people have internalized the belief that they need external authorities to tell them what's true, what's valuable, and how to live. The financial system represents perhaps the most elegant demiurgic trap ever devised. It operates on pure illusion, the belief that pieces of paper or digital numbers have inherent value. But here's where it gets diabolical. The system creates artificial scarcity in a world of abundance. We have the technology and resources to provide for everyone's basic needs, yet people work their entire lives paying interest on money that banks create out of thin air. Debt becomes the modern version of spiritual bondage. People become so focused on earning money to pay bills that they never have time to contemplate deeper questions about existence or their true nature. The demiurge doesn't need physical chains when financial obligations keep people trapped in cycles of work, consumption, and worry. The most spiritually gifted individuals often find themselves so exhausted from economic survival that they abandon their inner development entirely. Mainstream media functions as a sophisticated version of what Gnostics called the veil of forgetfulness. Instead of helping people remember their divine nature, it keeps consciousness focused on division, conflict, and surface-level drama. Notice how the news cycle operates. It creates emotional reactions that keep people in lower vibrational states: fear, anger, outrage, while rarely providing information that leads to genuine understanding or empowerment. The media doesn't just report events, it shapes perception by controlling what people think about. While humans argue about carefully crafted political divisions, they're not questioning why they need rulers at all. While they're focused on celebrity scandals, they're not developing their spiritual faculties. The archons that Gnostics described as feeding off human emotional energy have found the perfect delivery system in modern media consumption. The medical establishment, despite the genuine intentions of many practitioners, often operates on demiurgic principles by treating symptoms while ignoring root causes. It creates dependency on external interventions rather than teaching people about their body's remarkable self-healing capabilities. The human body is designed to heal itself when given proper conditions, yet the system profits from chronic illness management rather than cure. This isn't to dismiss legitimate medical intervention when needed, but to recognize how the overall approach keeps people disconnected from their own healing wisdom. Ancient Gnostics understood that the body was part of the material trap, but they also knew it contained divine spark that could facilitate healing when properly understood. Modern medicine often denies this.
Oh, my bad. Like I would say, hey, let it be known, I do support going to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor.
Inner healing intelligence entirely. Political systems create perhaps the most insidious illusion of all, the belief that people have meaningful choice in how they're governed. Elections become rituals where citizens choose between predetermined options that maintain the same fundamental power structures. Whether the winning candidate wears red or blue, the banking system continues unchanged, wars continue, and individual sovereignty remains limited. This pseudo-choice keeps people invested in false solutions, channeling their desire for change into ineffective activities, while the real power structures remain invisible and untouchable. The demiurge doesn't care which puppet sits on the throne as long as people believe the puppet show is real. Consumer culture operates on the demiurgic principle of never-ending desire. It promises that happiness comes from external acquisition while ensuring that satisfaction remains permanently out of reach through planned obsolescence and artificial trend cycles. People work jobs they often dislike to buy things they don't really need, hoping to fill a spiritual void with material possessions. The advertising industry has become incredibly sophisticated at triggering subconscious desires and insecurities. It sells not just products, but identity itself, the idea that you are what you own, what you wear, what you drive. This keeps consciousness focused on the material realm, while the spiritual dimension atrophies from neglect. Social media and digital technology function as modern archons, harvesting human attention and emotional energy while creating addiction.
So I played something a while ago, something I seen, and it was how to sell to a Negro. And I thought that was very interesting. So not only is propaganda and media subjective to not just the so-called Black American, but other ethnicities as well. I mean, look at what happened over there, you know what I'm saying, in Germany with you know who. And just even here in America, you know, certain things that we push and we brand and we market to certain individuals and certain people and certain groups of people. Shit, it is how it is. Let's get back to it.
Patterns that disconnect people from authentic experience. These platforms are designed to trigger dopamine responses that keep users scrolling, comparing, and seeking validation from strangers rather than developing genuine self-worth. The algorithms that govern these platforms literally feed off human emotional reactions. The more extreme the emotion, the more engagement they generate. This creates an environment where outrage, envy, and superficial connection replace deep thinking, contentment, and meaningful relationships. What makes this matrix of control so effective is how these systems interlock and reinforce each other. The education system creates compliant consumers. The financial system keeps them trapped in survival mode. The media shapes their perceptions, and technology harvests their remaining mental energy. Each system appears normal and necessary because people have never experienced life without them. But here's what the demiurge fears most: conscious recognition of these patterns. When you understand how these systems operate, you can navigate them without being unconsciously controlled by them. You can use money without worshipping it, consume media without being programmed by it, and participate in society without surrendering your inner authority. The key is developing what Gnostics called gnosis, direct spiritual knowledge that doesn't depend on external validation. This inner knowing becomes your compass for navigating the matrix while maintaining connection to your true divine nature. Now that we've explored how the demiurge operates through religious institutions and modern control systems, we need to develop something crucial: the ability to recognize its influence in our daily lives. Because here's what most people don't realize: the archons aren't necessarily literal entities lurking in the shadows. They manifest as patterns, behaviors, and dynamics that we encounter every single day. Think of archonic influence as a kind of spiritual malware running in the background of human consciousness. It creates thought patterns, emotional responses, and behavioral compulsions that serve the demiurgic agenda of keeping us trapped in limitation, fear, and spiritual amnesia. The more we can identify these patterns, the more we can reclaim our authentic power. Let's start with relationships, because this is where demiurgic influence shows up most clearly. You know that friend who always leaves you feeling drained after spending time together? That's not coincidence. Certain people become unconscious conduits for archonic energy, engaging in what the Gnostics understood as spiritual vampirism. These relationships follow predictable patterns: constant drama, emotional manipulation, the need to always be the center of attention, and an inability to genuinely celebrate your successes. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with different people. Authentic relationships leave you feeling energized, inspired, or at peace, even when discussing difficult topics. Demiurgic relationships create a specific kind of exhaustion, not physical tiredness, but a depletion of your life force, your enthusiasm, your connection to your own inner knowing. The manipulation often follows sophisticated patterns. Someone might shower you with attention and validation, then withdraw it to create emotional dependency. They might consistently undermine your confidence with subtle criticisms disguised as concern.
I don't know if y'all have actually experienced this, but that is so true. You feel me? That can be draining, man. Like dealing with a certain individual, man, and man, just just trying to, stay on course with the conversation or whatever you having, and you just like this, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes, when you having heated or powerful discussions with certain people, it's like, it's a bouncing off of ideas and a camaraderie of competitiveness of scholarly, information, and it's a good build and a good thing, and it's great. Like, damn, I'm amped off this conversation, or I'm amped off this. You know what I'm saying? Well, sometimes, man, just dealing with certain individuals, it could be draining, man. Like, so, you know what I'm saying, I mean, I'm not gonna put a name on it, say what it is or what it ain't, but through experience, I can agree with that. Let's get back to it.
Or they might create artificial urgency around their problems, demanding your immediate emotional labor while never reciprocating support. But it's not just other people. We need to examine our own internal landscape. The archons work primarily through thought patterns that keep us disconnected from present moment awareness. Obsessive worry about the future, rumination about past mistakes, constant comparison with others, the relentless inner critic that tells you you're not good enough. These aren't natural features of human consciousness. They're implanted programs designed to keep you trapped in mental loops that prevent authentic spiritual development. Notice how certain thoughts create a specific energetic signature. Worry contracts your awareness, making you feel small and powerless. Comparison generates either superiority or inadequacy, both of which separate you from genuine connection with others. Self-doubt undermines your ability to trust your own inner guidance, making you dependent on external authorities for validation and direction. The constant mental chatter that most people accept as normal consciousness is actually a jamming signal that prevents you from accessing deeper levels of awareness. When you're caught in repetitive thought loops, you can't hear your own intuition, you can't feel your connection to the larger web of consciousness, and you remain trapped in the demiurge's limited reality. Information sources reveal demiurgic influence through their emotional impact and long-term effects on consciousness. Content that promotes fear, division, hopelessness, or dependency serves archonic purposes, regardless of whether the information itself is factually accurate. The key question isn't just, is this true? How does engaging with this information affect my consciousness, my relationships, and my ability to create positive change? News media that keeps you in a state of chronic anxiety, social media that triggers comparison and inadequacy, entertainment that glorifies violence or superficial materialism, these all serve to lower your vibration and make you more susceptible to demiurgic influence. You'll notice that after consuming this content, you feel less connected to your own inner wisdom and more dependent on external sources for understanding reality. Even physical environments can carry demiurgic influence. Certain locations feel energetically heavy or draining due to accumulated negative activities that occurred there. Places where suffering, exploitation, or spiritual suppression happened tend to retain that energetic signature. You might notice feeling unexpectedly depressed, anxious, or confused in certain buildings, neighborhoods, or even cities. Organizations and institutions reveal demiurgic patterns through their structure and culture. Excessive hierarchy that concentrates power at the top, suppression of creativity and individual expression, punishment of questioning or independent thinking, emphasis on external compliance over inner development. These are hallmarks of archonic influence within human systems. Watch for organizations that demand absolute loyalty without transparency, that use shame and fear as motivational tools, or that promise salvation through external means while discouraging personal spiritual exploration. These patterns appear in corporations, educational institutions, religious organizations, and even spiritual communities that have been infiltrated by demiurgic influence. Physical symptoms can sometimes indicate that your life energy is being misdirected or harvested. Chronic fatigue that doesn't respond to rest, depression that seems to come from nowhere, anxiety that persists despite addressing practical concerns, and other conditions that arise when you're living in ways that contradict your authentic nature. This doesn't mean all illness is spiritually caused, but there's often a correlation between physical vitality and spiritual alignment. When you're living authentically, following your genuine calling, and maintaining healthy energetic boundaries, your physical body typically reflects that harmony. Pay attention to your dreams and sleep patterns. Demiurgic interference often targets consciousness during these vulnerable states. Chronic insomnia, nightmares that leave you feeling drained rather than simply scared, dreams that feel artificially chaotic or confusing, and difficulty remembering dreams can all indicate interference with your natural consciousness cycles. Certain lifestyle choices make individuals more susceptible to archonic influence. Substances that disconnect you from your body and intuition, processed foods that cloud mental clarity, entertainment that glorifies unconscious behavior, and social environments that reward superficiality over authenticity. All of these lower your spiritual defenses. The crucial skill is learning to distinguish between legitimate challenges that promote growth and demiurgic obstacles designed to create suffering. Authentic challenges feel difficult but meaningful. They connect you more deeply with your values and purpose, and they ultimately expand your capacity for love, wisdom, and service. Demiurgic obstacles feel arbitrary, draining, and disconnected from any larger purpose. They create suffering without growth, confusion without eventual clarity, and separation without deeper understanding. Here's a practical test. Does this situation, relationship, or opportunity increase your freedom or create dependency? Does it promote clarity or generate confusion? Does it inspire love and connection, or does it trigger fear and separation? Does it encourage you to trust your own inner guidance, or does it make you doubt your ability to navigate life independently? The development of this discernment isn't optional for anyone seeking to live authentically in our current world. The demiurgic influence is so pervasive that without conscious awareness, we unconsciously participate in our own spiritual imprisonment. But once you begin to see these patterns, you can't unsee them, and that recognition becomes the foundation for genuine liberation. Now that we've explored how the demiurge operates through modern systems and how to recognize archonic influence in our daily lives, we arrive at the most crucial question: how do we actually break free? The answer lies in understanding what the ancient Gnostics called gnosis, but this isn't what most people think it is. Gnosis isn't another spiritual concept to add to your collection. It's not something you can learn from a book or acquire through study. In fact, trying to grasp gnosis intellectually is like trying to taste water by reading about it. The word itself comes from the Greek meaning to know, but it refers to a specific type of knowing, direct, experiential knowledge that bypasses the thinking mind entirely. Think of it this way: you know that you exist, right? Not because someone taught you this fact, not because you reasoned it out logically, but because you directly experience your own being. That's the quality of knowing we're talking about. Gnosis is the direct recognition of your true nature, the divine spark that exists within you, untouchable by any external force, including the demiurge itself. This divine spark, which the Gnostics called pneuma, is your connection to the true source beyond the material realm. The demiurge cannot destroy it, corrupt it, or even access it directly. What it can do, and does with remarkable efficiency, is make you forget it exists. It's like having a priceless diamond sewn into the lining of a coat you wear every day, completely unaware of the treasure you carry. The beautiful paradox is that gnosis naturally emerges when we stop trying so hard to find it. It arises in moments of genuine stillness, not the forced quiet of trying to meditate correctly, but the organic silence that comes when the mind finally relaxes its grip. Sometimes it happens while walking in nature, when suddenly the boundary between you and the forest dissolves. Other times it emerges during creative expression, when you're so absorbed in painting or music that the artist disappears and only the art remains. I've noticed that gnosis often sneaks up on people during the most ordinary moments. A friend once described having a profound awakening while washing dishes, suddenly seeing through the illusion of separation and recognizing the interconnected nature of all existence. Another person experienced it while watching their child sleep, recognizing something eternal and untouchable in that small face. What all these experiences share is a quality of direct perception that transcends the rational mind. You can't argue with gnosis because it doesn't operate in the realm of concepts and beliefs. It's like trying to debate whether you're actually seeing the sunset you're looking at. The knowing is immediate and undeniable. But here's where it gets tricky. The demiurge has become remarkably sophisticated at co-opting spiritual practices. It takes meditation and turns it into another achievement to collect. It transforms yoga into a competitive performance. It converts prayer into a shopping list of demands. Any practice that should connect you with your authentic self gets twisted into another way to feed the ego or follow external authority. I've watched people spend decades accumulating spiritual credentials, certifications, initiations, secret teachings, while becoming increasingly disconnected from their inner knowing. They can quote ancient texts and perform elaborate rituals, but they've missed the forest for the trees. The demiurge loves this because it keeps people seeking externally while ignoring the treasure within. Real Gnostic practice is almost embarrassingly simple. It's about learning to trust your inner compass over external programming. When faced with a decision, instead of immediately consulting experts or analyzing pros and cons, you pause and feel into what your deeper knowing suggests. This doesn't mean ignoring practical considerations, but rather including a dimension of wisdom that operates beyond logical calculation. As Gnostic awareness develops, you start seeing through the artificial nature of many societal constructs. The frantic pursuit of status symbols reveals itself as a hamster wheel. The news cycle's manufactured urgency loses its grip on your attention. Consumer culture's promises of fulfillment through acquisition become transparently hollow. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. This awakening process often involves what mystics call the dark night of the soul, a period when old beliefs and identities crumble before new understanding solidifies. It can feel like losing your mind because, in a sense, you are. You're losing the conditioned mind that was never truly yours anyway. Friends and family might worry about your changing perspectives. Career paths that once seemed important may feel meaningless. This disillusionment, while challenging, is actually a sign of authentic transformation. What emerges on the other side is a recognition of profound interconnectedness, the separation between self and other, which the demiurge uses as its primary control mechanism, reveals itself as a convincing illusion. You realize that harming others ultimately harms yourself, not as a moral principle, but as a direct perception of reality's unified nature. Living from Gnostic awareness provides natural guidance for navigating life's complexities. Instead of constantly seeking external validation or following prescribed formulas, you develop an internal compass that responds to each situation freshly. This doesn't mean becoming impulsive or ignoring wisdom traditions, but rather integrating external knowledge with inner discernment. Maintaining and deepening this awareness requires what I call conscious attention, regularly checking in with your authentic self rather than running on autopilot. This might involve brief moments of stillness throughout the day, time in nature, creative expression, or simply pausing to ask, what does my deeper knowing suggest here? If you're finding value in understanding these ancient wisdom teachings and their modern applications, I encourage you to subscribe and share this with others who might benefit from these insights. One crucial aspect of Gnostic awakening is learning how to share these insights skillfully. Forced awakening creates resistance. People who aren't ready for certain truths may react defensively or dismiss what you're sharing entirely. The most effective approach is often simply embodying your understanding rather than preaching it. Your presence and way of being becomes an invitation for others to remember their own inner knowing. Gnosis is not a destination you reach and then possess forever. It's an ongoing process of remembering and embodying your true divine nature. Some days the connection feels crystal clear. Other days the old programming reasserts itself and you find yourself caught in familiar patterns. This is natural and part of the journey. The key is developing patience with the process while maintaining commitment to truth. Each moment offers a fresh opportunity to choose awareness over unconsciousness, authentic response over programmed reaction, inner knowing over external authority. Through this ongoing practice of remembering, the divine spark within gradually illuminates more of your life, dissolving the demiurge's influence through the simple power of conscious awareness. Now that we've explored how to recognize demiurgic influence and awaken our inner gnosis, the natural question becomes, how do we actually live differently? How do we navigate a world built on artificial systems while maintaining our authentic connection to divine consciousness? The first thing to understand is that liberation isn't about running away to a cave in the mountains. It's about developing what I call conscious navigation, moving through the same world but with completely different awareness. Think of it like learning to see the matrix code while still functioning within the system. Let's start with something fundamental, your energetic boundaries. Most people leak energy constantly because they've never learned to create conscious barriers between themselves and draining influences. Here's a practice that actually works. Each morning, before you even get out of bed, visualize a sphere of golden light surrounding your entire body. But don't just imagine it. Feel it as a tangible barrier that allows love and truth to flow through while deflecting manipulation, fear, and artificial programming. I've watched people transform their entire experience of challenging workplaces and relationships simply by maintaining this energetic boundary. When your uncle starts his political rant at dinner, instead of getting triggered and feeding that energy pattern, you remain centered within your protective sphere, observing rather than reacting. Food becomes a powerful liberation tool once you understand that what you consume directly affects your consciousness. The demiurgic system promotes foods that cloud awareness, heavily processed items loaded with chemicals, artificial flavors, and substances that literally alter brain chemistry. I'm not suggesting you become a food purist overnight, but notice how you feel after eating different things. Start replacing one processed meal per day with something you prepare from whole ingredients. Grow herbs on your windowsill. Buy directly from local farmers when possible. Each step reduces your dependence on systems designed to keep you disconnected from the natural world. When you eat food grown in real soil with actual sunlight, your body remembers what authentic nourishment feels like. The same principle applies to developing practical skills. Every skill you master, whether it's basic home repair, growing food, or even learning to sew, reduces your dependence on systems that profit from your helplessness. I know a woman who started with learning to bake bread. That simple skill led to understanding fermentation, then growing her own grains, then connecting with other people interested in food sovereignty. One skill opened an entire network of like-minded individuals. Speaking of relationships, this is where liberation gets really practical. You'll discover that as your consciousness shifts, some relationships naturally evolve while others reveal themselves as fundamentally draining. Instead of trying to change people, focus on changing your own patterns. Stop participating in gossip, complaining sessions, or conversations that leave you feeling depleted. I learned to ask myself before every social interaction, am I about to feed or starve the demiurgic patterns in this relationship? When someone wants to bond over shared victimhood or outrage, you can acknowledge their feelings without joining the energy drain. That sounds really challenging for you. Works better than, oh my God, yes, everything is terrible. Mental and emotional purification requires specific practices, not just positive thinking. One technique that consistently produces results involves writing down limiting beliefs as they arise throughout the day. Don't analyze them, just capture them. I'm not good enough. There's never enough money. People can't be trusted. After a week, you'll see patterns that have been running your life unconsciously. Then comes the interesting part, tracing each belief back to its origin. That fear of not having enough money might connect to watching your parents argue about bills when you were 7. Once you see the connection consciously, the belief loses its automatic power over your decisions. Creative expression serves as one of the most direct routes to authentic self-connection. The demiurgic system promotes passive consumption of entertainment created by others. Active creation, whether it's drawing, writing, music, dance, or even creative problem-solving, bypasses mental programming and connects you directly with your divine spark. I've seen people break through decades of depression simply by starting to create something regularly. It doesn't matter if you think you're artistic. The act of bringing something new into existence through your unique perspective is inherently liberating. Information consumption requires developing what I call energetic discernment. Instead of just evaluating whether information is true or false, notice how different sources affect your energy. Does this podcast leave you feeling empowered or fearful? Does this news source promote solutions or just problems? Does this spiritual teacher inspire your own connection or create dependence on their authority? Gradually shift towards sources that enhance your own discernment rather than telling you what to think. Spend more time in nature, which provides information your body and soul recognize as authentic. The trees aren't trying to sell you anything or manipulate your emotions. Work and finances present perhaps the biggest practical challenge. Most of us need income to survive, but many jobs require compromising our values or spending our life energy on meaningless tasks. The key is making conscious transitions rather than dramatic escapes that create unnecessary hardship. Start by bringing your authentic self to whatever work you're currently doing. Look for small ways to serve others genuinely within your existing role. Often, this shift in approach creates unexpected opportunities for more meaningful work. I know a bank teller who started treating each customer interaction as an opportunity to brighten someone's day. This led to management noticing her positive impact, which opened doors to positions focused on community outreach. Simultaneously, develop skills or side projects aligned with your values. Even spending 30 minutes per day on something meaningful creates momentum toward more authentic work over time. Use challenging situations as consciousness laboratories instead of sources of victimhood. When someone cuts you off in traffic, that's an opportunity to practice maintaining your center instead of reacting automatically. When unexpected bills arrive, that's a chance to observe your scarcity programming without being controlled by it. Service to others, when it comes from genuine love rather than obligation or ego, naturally weakens demiurgic patterns. But distinguish between authentic service and codependent helping. True service empowers others to connect with their own divine nature rather than creating dependence on your assistance. Finally, maintain your spiritual practices without falling into spiritual materialism, using spirituality to enhance your ego rather than dissolve it. The goal isn't to become a more impressive spiritual person, but to Remember your inherent connection to divine consciousness. Liberation is an ongoing process requiring patience with yourself and others. Some days you'll navigate challenges with perfect awareness. Other days you'll get completely triggered and react from old patterns. Both experiences provide valuable information for your continued awakening. The demiurgic system thrives on perfectionism and all-or-nothing thinking. Your liberation thrives on self-compassion and gradual, sustainable changes that honor both your spiritual nature and your practical human needs. So you've awakened to the Gnostic understanding of reality. You've recognized the demiurge's influence, cultivated your inner gnosis, and begun implementing liberation strategies in your daily life. But now comes perhaps the most challenging phase of this journey. How do you actually live with this awareness? This isn't a theoretical question. When you see through the illusions that most people accept as reality, when you recognize the artificial nature of so many systems that others depend on for meaning and identity, you face a profound existential challenge. How do you function in a world that often feels like an elaborate stage production when you can see the strings and pulleys behind the curtain? The first thing many people experience after awakening is a kind of spiritual vertigo. You might find yourself sitting in a corporate meeting, listening to discussions about quarterly profits and market penetration, thinking, this is completely meaningless theater. Or you're at a family gathering where relatives are passionately debating political candidates, and you can see how both sides are being manipulated by the same underlying power structures. The temptation is either to become cynical and withdrawn, or to become the person who can't stop pointing out how everything is just programming. Neither of these responses serves your spiritual evolution or helps anyone else. The ancient Gnostics understood this dilemma intimately. They lived in the Roman Empire, surrounded by people who worshipped the very demiurgic forces they recognized as false. They couldn't simply retreat from society. They had families, livelihoods, and responsibilities. Instead, they developed what we might call a middle way approach, being fully present in the world while maintaining inner detachment from its dramas and outcomes. This means participating in necessary activities without deriving your sense of identity or worth from them. You might excel at your job, not because you believe it's the ultimate expression of human purpose, but because excellence is an expression of your divine nature. You engage with the material world skillfully, recognizing it as a temporary classroom rather than your permanent home. One of the most delicate aspects of this path involves relationships with people who are still deeply embedded in demiurgic programming. Your spouse might be completely invested in accumulating status symbols. Your parents might derive their entire sense of meaning from religious or political ideologies you now see as control mechanisms. Your friends might be caught in endless cycles of seeking validation through social media or consumer culture. The awakened response isn't to become their unwelcome teacher or to judge them as unenlightened. Remember, you were once where they are now. Instead, you learn to love them exactly as they are, while refusing to be pulled back into unconscious patterns. This requires tremendous discernment and emotional maturity. I've watched people destroy marriages and friendships because they couldn't resist the urge to wake everyone up. They'd constantly point out manipulation in advertisements, critique their friends' life choices, or refuse to participate in any activity they deemed demiurgic. This isn't spiritual awakening, it's spiritual arrogance masquerading as enlightenment. True Gnostic wisdom recognizes that everyone awakens in their own time, if at all in this lifetime. Your job isn't to force enlightenment on others, it's to embody the peace and freedom you've discovered so authentically that others might become curious about what you've found. This doesn't mean becoming passive in the face of genuine injustice, but it does mean choosing your battles wisely. Not every manipulation requires your personal intervention. Not every unconscious person needs your correction. Not every systemic problem demands your immediate action. You learn to distinguish between situations where your involvement can genuinely help and situations where you're just feeding your ego's need to be right or enlightened. The loneliness that often accompanies awakening is real and shouldn't be minimized. When you can no longer find meaning in conversations about celebrity gossip, when you can't get excited about Black Friday sales, when political theater leaves you feeling empty rather than energized, you might feel isolated from mainstream culture. This is a natural part of the process, not a sign that something is wrong with you. Finding or creating community with others who share your level of awareness becomes crucial. But here's where another trap awaits: spiritual elitism. It's easy to fall into an us versus them mentality where you and your awakened friends are the enlightened ones and everyone else is hopelessly lost. This attitude is actually another form of demiurgic programming. It feeds separation and superiority rather than unity and compassion. Authentic spiritual community supports each other's growth while maintaining humility about how much any of us truly understand. We're all works in progress, all learning to navigate between worlds, all occasionally falling back into old patterns of unconsciousness. Practically speaking, this path requires constant calibration. Some days you might need to engage more fully with material concerns, paying bills, handling family crises, dealing with health issues. Other days you might need to retreat into spiritual practice and contemplation. Neither is more spiritual than the other when approached with conscious awareness. The key is maintaining what the Gnostics called sobriety, a clear-eyed recognition of what's real and what's illusion, combined with the practical wisdom to function effectively in both realms. You can appreciate the beauty of a sunset without forgetting that the physical world is temporary. You can love your family deeply while recognizing that these relationships are temporary forms your eternal spirit is experiencing. This path also means continuing to grow spiritually while living in a world that often doesn't recognize or support authentic spiritual development. You might need to find creative ways to maintain your practices, to study ancient wisdom, to cultivate inner silence amidst external noise. This isn't about perfection, it's about persistence and adaptability. When setbacks occur, you learn to view them as opportunities for deeper understanding rather than evidence that awakening isn't real. Every challenge becomes a chance to practice what you've learned about detachment, compassion, and inner stability. The Gnostic path ultimately offers something remarkable: the ability to live authentically in an inauthentic world. You're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances for your peace or happiness. You can engage fully with life while knowing that your true identity transcends any role you're playing. This is the middle way, honoring both spiritual truth and practical wisdom, serving others while maintaining your own integrity, participating in the world while never forgetting your divine origin. If this resonates with your experience, share your insights in the comments below. How are you learning to walk between worlds? Here's something that might surprise you. Understanding the demiurge was never the destination. It was always just the doorway. And now that you've walked through that doorway, you're standing at the threshold of something so vast, so magnificent, that even the word God becomes inadequate to describe it. The Gnostics called it the pleroma, the fullness. Not fullness like a container that gets filled up, but fullness like the ocean that contains all waves while remaining eternally itself. This is the reality that exists beyond the demiurgic realm, untouched by its limitations, unaffected by its dramas, eternally perfect and complete. Think about this for a moment. If the demiurge is the architect of limitation, what does that make you when you recognize its boundaries? You become the one who sees the architect at work. And here's the profound shift. The moment you can observe something, you're no longer trapped by it. You're operating from a space that transcends it. This is where the real liberation begins. Not in fighting the demiurge. That would be like a wave trying to fight the ocean. The ultimate freedom comes from recognizing that your essential nature was never under its control to begin with. The demiurge can manipulate the dream, but it cannot touch the dreamer. I've watched people spend years trying to defeat demiurgic influence in their lives, creating elaborate protection rituals, constantly scanning for manipulation, living in a state of perpetual spiritual warfare. But this approach keeps you locked in the very dynamic you're trying to escape. It's like trying to run away from your own shadow. The mystics throughout history discovered something far more elegant. When you recognize your true nature as the consciousness in which all experience arises, the whole game changes. Fear dissolves because you realize there's nothing that can actually threaten what you really are. The body can be harmed, the personality can be confused, the emotions can be triggered, but the aware presence that witnesses all of this remains untouched. This recognition brings something unexpected: compassion for the demiurge itself. When you see from this ultimate perspective, you realize the demiurge is like a lost child, a fragment of creation that has forgotten its source and is desperately trying to create meaning through control and manipulation. It's not evil in any ultimate sense, it's just profoundly disconnected from its true nature. Living from this understanding transforms everything. You no longer need external validation because you know yourself as the very awareness that gives validity to all experience. You don't seek security in possessions or relationships because you recognize yourself as the unchanging presence in which all things appear and disappear. The desperate need to control outcomes fades because you understand that whatever arises is simply another movement within your own infinite nature. Your relationships with others undergo a radical shift. Instead of seeing people as threats or allies in some cosmic battle, you begin to recognize everyone as divine beings playing various roles in an infinite drama. Some are more conscious of their true nature than others, but all are ultimately expressions of the same source. The person caught in demiurgic programming isn't your enemy, they're you, temporarily forgetting who they really are. Even death loses its terror from this perspective. When you know yourself as consciousness itself, death becomes simply another transition, like waking from one dream into another. The forms change, but what you fundamentally are continues. This isn't a belief or a hope, it's a direct recognition that can be verified in your own experience right now. But here's what's crucial to understand. This recognition brings profound responsibility, not the burden of trying to fix the world or save everyone from illusion, but the joyful responsibility of expressing your divine nature regardless of circumstances. When you know who you really are, authenticity becomes effortless. You naturally embody love, wisdom, and creative power because that's simply what you are. This ultimate truth has been expressed by awakened beings throughout history, across every culture and tradition. Lao Tzu called it the Tao that cannot be named. Buddha pointed to it as the Buddha nature inherent in all beings. Jesus referred to it when he said, "I and the Father are one." Rumi wrote about it as the beloved that you seek in every face. The language differs, but the recognition is identical. What's beautiful is that this understanding continues to deepen throughout your entire life. It's not a one-time realization that you achieve and then file away. Each moment offers new opportunities to embody this truth more fully, to express it more creatively, to share it more authentically. And here's the vision that fills me with incredible excitement. As more individuals awaken to their true nature, the collective influence of demiurgic consciousness naturally weakens, not through force or opposition, but through the simple presence of authentic divine expression. Imagine communities of people living from this recognition, creating together from love rather than fear, collaborating from wholeness rather than lack. This isn't some distant utopian dream. It's happening right now, person by person, recognition by recognition. Every time someone awakens to their true nature, the entire field of consciousness is enriched. Every authentic expression of divine creativity adds to the momentum of collective awakening. You are not separate from this process, you are this process. Your recognition of your true nature is how the divine recognizes itself. Your expression of authentic love is how love expresses itself in the world. Your freedom from demiurgic limitation is how consciousness frees itself from its own temporary forgetfulness. The ultimate truth is startlingly simple. You are the very presence you've been seeking. The kingdom of heaven, the pleroma, the source of all existence. It's not somewhere else. It's what you are right here, right now, reading these very words. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting. I understood it.
So that's it. That's part one of the Demiurge, man. Next Spirit of Tabernacle next Sunday. You feel me? We're gonna be in the building with part two. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I thought this was something that the people needed to hear, man. Something, you know what I'm saying, enlighten, open up your mind and expound. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about the Bible and Christianity a lot, you feel me? That ain't the only thing that's out there or that was out there. I get it, it's primarily pushed throughout the world, but you know what I'm saying, there's other schools of philosophy, man, or schools of thoughts, man, that get the mind churning as well. So yeah, we rocking with this Demiurge, man. This is part one. Like I say, next Sunday, next Sunday, man, next Spirit of Tabernacle, man, we'll be in the building for part two. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Listen, if anybody in the audience, anybody out there in the chat, want to hit the link to come up and speak, you know what I'm saying, and maybe say, talk about what we just heard or got something, on or against what we just heard, or a question or something like that we can converse on a little bit, feel free to hit the link in the chat. If not, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's time to skedaddle, you feel me? But like I say, man, big ups to all my kings and goddesses as moderators. You know what I'm saying? I was in the building, man. Big ups to all my Twitch and Facebook supporters. Don't forget to give me a like, share, and a follow over there. When you get some time, come on over here to YouTube. And YouTube, big up to all my followers, fans, viewers, and subscribers, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. You feel me? And hit that sub button, man. Listen, man, y'all know what it is, man. When y'all get up, going to work, the grocery store, your neighbor's front door, to the park, walking your dog, wherever, man, you had human interaction, man. Ask them if they heard about us over here on Beer the Conversation. If they say no, when they pull them phones out, man, type it in for them and tell them to type it in and hit that sub button. UV, family channel, family show, man. You know, we like to get into a little bit of everything. So, you know, man, it is what it is. You feel me? So, I guess your boy, I'm gonna leave y'all like how I came to you. You feel me, man? Let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. Once again, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. And lastly, family, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. And don't forget to master these 5 key components of life. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. And one last time, for those in the back, that's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. And don't forget to E40 that thing, man, and sprinkle a little support on top, because a little support go a long, 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 long way. If you don't believe me, man, try it out. And if it don't work out for you, come on back. We can talk about it, discuss it, see where you went wrong, or see how, you know what I'm talking about? Then, yeah, we can get it together for you. But with that being said, man, all my peoples, man, again, from the bottom of my heart, man, to the top of my mind, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, for hitting that like button, man. Big shout out to Miss Money for sharing me out. Big shout out to Irby, man, Muffy, and all of Sin. Miss Jess slid through. Uncle P, big ups to you. You feel me? Jers, what up, Solomon? You feel me? Big ups to everybody that slid through, man. You know what I'm saying? For however long they slid through, you feel me? But yeah, man, come on over here, man, on these Sundays, man, and you know, let's get this work. You feel me? Let's get this knowledge, man. Let's get these brains stirring. And let's have these good old conversations. You feel me? That a lot of y'all don't like to talk about, but fuck it, let's do it. You feel me? That's why it's called Be the Conversation, man. But yeah. So, man, hey, y'all know what it is. All superheroes don't wear capes, but they still need their theme music. So to all my superheroes, all my Beardonians, and all my beautiful people, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Do your boy a favor.
Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man. Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man.
Hey, man, big ups to my residential Dominican from the Dominican Republic. My boy, your boy, our boy, Cito boy. Take us home, man.
Guys, yeah. guys, yeah. My name is Cito. You already know that, dog. This the hottest show you gon' find around. If young niggas ain't known, you need to ask around. This is Beer the Conversation. It's all love and no hate. Around here we good, but we aim to be great. Dip back in the bay, enjoy your Scooby snacks. Around here we just talk about this and all that. We talking real life, every day and every night. And if you need to clear the air, you can bring your wife. We got church on Sunday, that's on the west side. We got virtual reality, in case you're scared of outside. See, we got what you need, and that's a guarantee. The best thing about it, it's absolutely free. Beer the Conversation. All love ain't no haters. Enjoy Scooby snacks while we get back to the business. Don't matter if you black or white, who you think is wrong or who is right. These are just opinions, some inside from a different walk of life. Yeah, see, my name is Cito. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, buy this man a coffee. Don't forget to lead over follow. Don't forget to love those that love you. And don't ever forget that you ain't never been richer than you are right now.
Don't forget, man. Hey, Hit that like button.
Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man. Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man.
Like he said, you feel me? Hey, man, y'all know how we like to get all the way on up out of here before we get all the way up on out of here. You feel me? Hey, man, those that fuck with us, fuck with us. Those that don't, fuck with us anyway. And don't forget, y'all, when we come together, that we always meet on a level. Once we in each other's presence, may we always be humble and plumb. And when we leave each other's presence, may we always part on the squares. Some more to be, some more to be, some more to be. So may it be, family. Peace, man. Hey, man, same black time, same black channel, man. Talk black to me, man. Be black in the building. You feel me? Tomorrow for Manly Man Day. Y'all know what it is, 9 p.m. Central Time, man. Make sure y'all tapping in and checking in with your boy. You heard? Yes, sir.